one will be Pedro Improvement.
Yeah, and I think he had his best game for a while. There was no surprise to me. He had a break against on midweek where he hasn't really been able to have one for a while. And I think he had his best performance probably in a couple of months in this game. I thought defensively much better. Dealt with Nuri, I think, quite well, considering he also had to deal with an inside forward. And I think, obviously, he had offensively as well. 2 key passes, completed 3 of his 4 crosses, made 1 tackle, 2 interceptions, won 3 of his 5 duels as well. So I think a much better display from Pedro. Wasn't perfect, but definitely signs of improvement.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I thought, yeah, it was all right. It was better than it has been, but what it has been before this was pretty shocking, to be fair. So it was good to see him defend his back post a bit better. It was good to see him provide those corners were of real quality for Pedro Porro yesterday. Obviously, the one that we scored, and there were a couple of other ones in there as well. But yeah, good to see Pedro with an improved performance. But the games aren't going to stop for him because with the doggy being out, it's going to be hard for him because him and Spence, we don't know how long a doggy's going to be out for, but him and Spence are going to be put to the test now, aren't they?
Yeah. Obviously, there's rumours we're looking for a left back in Jan, but I don't know if they'll be in time. So for the next run of games. So yeah, looks like Spence or maybe even Reguilon might be getting a run out.
Number 2 is Bentancur's costly booking.
Yeah, and it's very frustrating because Bentancur is having a much better game in this one compared to his performance against Forest. Obviously, he's been missing for so long. It was really great to have him back, but after his performance against Forest, people were wondering what kind of Bentancur have we got back. But I thought this was a much better game from him. Won 4 of his 5 aerial duels, won 3 ground duels, 2 tackles, 3 clearances, got his goal as well with a really good header, and was generally much better on the ball than he was in the Forest game, where I thought he was very sloppy and just haphazard. But that late booking right at the end of the game means he will be missing for the Newcastle game. Obviously, it is only one game, but that Newcastle game is so important at home, in a game where with the pressure piling on the manager, any kind of way we can get results is going to be crucial. And obviously, we've got a better chance when he's in this kind of form, playing in that kind of way. So it's very frustrating. He's picked up another booking and going to be ruled out for the game.
Yeah, I was really frustrated with him after the Forest game because I just thought he weren't at the races at all. And after being out for so long, you'd expect him just to come in, hit the ground running after Ange said, he was working really hard in training really well, blah, blah, blah. And he just put in a disaster class. So it was good to see him respond in that manner. But then he's going to serve another suspension. Like, how stupid can you be after being out for 7 games suspended? You literally just got to hold off for 1 more minute and you get that booking, and he's going to be out for the Newcastle game, which is going to be a big loss for us. So, yeah, Bentancur, good performance, but stupid moment at the end that's going to really cost us, or going to cost us in the next game anyway. But next 3 is Plan B.
Yeah, and did Ange implement a Plan B yesterday, or was there other factors relating to why we played in a very different way, I think, to how we usually play? We had only 48% possession over the game, 46% as well in the first half, which is only the 4th time this season that we've had less than 50% possession. But despite that, we did create 5 big chances to Wolves' 2.25 XG, compared to Wolves' 0.7, which is the lowest we've conceded this season in terms of XG. We were definitely sitting a lot deeper in that second half as well than we usually do, which is a lot of fans have been calling for Tottenham to sit a bit deeper, but obviously we did end up conceding at the end. Decky said, though, after the game, Spurs were too focused on protecting the lead at the end, and it's not who we are and it's not how we usually approach the game. So did Ange implement a Plan B yesterday, or were there other factors as to why we did play a different style yesterday?
In my opinion, I think it was other factors. I think it would have been the team naturally doing that to try and hold on to the lead, and I don't think Decky says that if it's the manager's instruction. So I do think it's other kind of aspects coming into it, and it's also at that time Wolves were really looking to dominate the possession as well. So I don't think it was instruction. I just think it was a circumstance in the game.
But was it the right thing to do?
Was it the right thing to do? I don't know if it was the right thing to do. Obviously not, because we didn't win the game and we conceded in the last minute. But yeah, the right thing to do was to get the ball in the back of the net and close off that game.
Let me know in the comments, didn't Ange implement a Plan B yesterday, or was it other factors? It's interesting to know what people's thoughts are, considering as well a lot of the criticism he gets for not changing and stuff like that, and all of a sudden we do play in a different way.
But do you think that was him implementing it?
Was it him implementing it? I think a lot of it was us reacting to the game state in terms of Wolves were doing a lot better job keeping the ball than probably we expected. So I think it was just natural that the fact that they were keeping the ball well, we were doing our job properly defensively, in my opinion. Which I think that was in general what we were doing. I think it was a lot to do with the coaching, but I think definitely in the way we ended the game, we probably overcompensated and it was a bit too much and a bit too deep, and that's maybe we just allowed Wolves onto us a bit too much than we would like. I think for most of the game, I think we kept Wolves at an arm's length, and that was probably the plan. But I think I think in the last 10 minutes, I think we allowed Wolves too much kind of encouragement nearer to our box, and that probably wasn't the tactic.
And you switch off once and it's costly.
And that's what happened, yeah.
Number 4 is Depay output soaring.
Yeah, and with his assist yesterday, it's now 9 goal contributions and 17 league starts this season, and it's especially in the last 7 games, he's now got 6 goal contributions in his last 7 games. So he's really starting to get consistency when it comes to output, and was a brilliant assist for the goal yesterday. But in general, had 4 key passes, 2 big chances created as well, 1 assist. Did miss that chance though near the end to seal the game. That could have been what really got us the win. Unfortunately, didn't happen. But in terms of his output, at the beginning of the season, he had great performances, but maybe inconsistent output. But now the output's really soaring.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I feel like over the last 5 or 6 games, he's actually had a couple of off games in there, but the output still is carrying on. Whereas in the earlier stages of the season, he was having probably more consistent performance level without really the output. So I think Depay has just been incredible for us this season. It's very rare he has an off game. I think probably 2 or 3 times this whole season he hasn't been at the levels where, we've seen him this season. So unbelievable player, unbelievable talent, and he keeps growing and adding different things to his game in terms of goal contributions. And this was one of the biggest criticisms I've had for him, even this season, where, he performs unbelievably well, puts so much in for the team, but doesn't get the goal contributions that his performance deserved. But now he's adding that.
Yeah, exactly.
And the 5th and final takeaway is a bad end to a bad year.
Yeah, so we did end up with, obviously, with a draw yesterday, which was not the result we all wanted. And it meant that Spurs ended the calendar year on 51 points, which is our lowest calendar year since 2008, which, even if we would have won yesterday, still would have been the case. But yeah, and just 2024, especially second half of last season, how we ended it and how we've ended this first half of this season as well. Really, really bad, unfortunately. No getting away from that.
Yep. We are in the trenches, people. We are in the trenches. 2024 has been shocking. So I'm happy to see the back of the year. Well, Happy New Year to everyone out there. Looking for a bigger and better 2025. But that is the 5 takeaways. Those are the 5 things we did learn from the 2-2 draw with Wolves. Let's get into a couple of super chats just we move on. John Lee